Texas State Representative Joe Moody, vice chair of the Texas House Committee investigating the Uvalde shooting massacre, had this to say when the report was released.
It's hard to hear that there were multiple systemic failures because we want to tell ourselves that systems work. We want to tell ourselves there's one person we could point our fingers at. We want to tell ourselves that this won't happen again. That's just not true. What happened here is complicated.
And Representative Moody is joining me right now. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us. And I think what you said there was so well said. The fact is, it's not one person, it's not one agency, it's not one reason, but is what your committee found new or just further evidence of what we've been hearing for months now, that there was a lack of leadership, that these officers with bulletproof vests and weapons had waited too long to act, and that there were problems and failures on the school campus as well?
Thank you for having me, first of all, and I appreciate your attention to the detail in this, because it does matter. It does matter. The context matters. I think that's the most important part of the work that we did. You know, so many times in society today and policymaking today, we start with the answer and don't care about the facts. And our important work here was to give people stable ground to stand on, to understand what the facts were, how that unfolded, the tragedy of those moments, and the lessons that we can learn going forward. We know now that the training that officers received wasn't followed. We know that things should have unfolded differently in that hallway, and decisions were made that compounded the earlier errors and never were corrected.
You have this new video that was released from inside the school. I think this is the first time we're actually seeing children who weren't inside that classroom, who were either in hallways or in other classrooms, being evacuated from the campus. What was learned from that video?
These are body cam videos from the Uvalde Police Department. I mean, it was made available to us in the committee. All of these are videos that I have viewed prior to this. We've viewed every body cam that was available that day. And so there is a part of this story when they discover that the children are in the other rooms. This evacuation happens very quickly and very urgently, and they move the children and teachers off site to the funeral home, which is across the street. This part of the effort was, while did not begin in an organized fashion, went very, very quickly and very, very well once it started. And so it certainly should say that about the evacuation of the other children that are in that building once they're discovered.
You know, I hope when we do stories like this, I think that we can finally get to some type of answer. What can we do to prepare and prevent something from this happening again? How much responsibility, and I'm not pointing blame here at all, but what responsibility does the district have in terms of the day-to-day safety of their campus, with findings that the doors were an issue, the locks were an issue, doors were propped open that should have been closed?
You know, I had in addition to the meeting with some of the families yesterday, had an opportunity to sit down with a handful of teachers from that hallway. And we had talked to them previously as witnesses. And so I talked to them again. One teacher said this, and it's very profound when I think about, when we're talking about systems failing, this was a very profound statement. She said, had I done everything correctly that day by my training, the result could have been still deadly for me and my kids. That tells me that the system we have in place does not reflect the reality that they live in. When we ask teachers to do certain things, but we don't have the most modern safety mechanisms or things that recognize the challenges that they face in the classroom every day, that's a problem of the system. Because what I find is some of the most heroic people in this story are the teachers in that hallway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're getting a little emotional here now, but you were emotional at this meeting as well. What can you tell these victims' families?
I left them with a promise, and they asked for accountability. That was one of the largest asks they made. And I said that I am accountable to you. And I made the same promise that I made to my community in El Paso nearly 3 years ago, was that I would never stop working on this. I would never stop focusing on making our communities, our state safer and better. And so that's a solemn promise I made to them, and we'll never forget it.
Take Texas State Representative Joe Moody, thank you for your time. And obviously, you clearly have a passion to serve this community. I know it's squarely on your shoulders, and hopefully there are a lot of other people who feel the same, that we all should be accountable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.